I'm not sure what happened, but I'm going to try again. So, I'm going to pretty much start from scratch as if the video never happened before. For those who are going to watch, they don't have to go watch 2 videos, they can just watch this one. So, in Maryland, now, actually, let me take a step back. For years now, you've been able to buy and use marijuana in a medical sense. You had to have a medical marijuana card, and to be quite honest, I'm not sure what goes into that or whatever went into that, the process and how that detailed. Well, there was a process, and you could get a medical marijuana card, and you could purchase those products under that context. But now, I believe it's as of July 1 of this year, 2023, you can now buy those products without a medical marijuana card and use them recreationally. Let me turn that volume down real quick so you don't have any of those interruptions. All right, and I'm getting more and more questions about this, and long story short, the questions being somewhere along the lines of, hey, you know, can I be able to buy these products? I'm not going to go as far as to say use, let's just say buy. Can I buy these products and still be, you know, can I be a gun owner and buy these products? You know, can I be able to get my carry permit and buy these products? Can I have my HQL and buy these products? And the long and short of it is no, right? You are not allowed to have a relationship to marijuana or any other, you know, drugs that are deemed illegal by the U.S. government. All right, and or possess firearms. All right. I don't claim to be a lawyer. I don't claim to know every damn thing in the world, but what I do know is that, all right. And if you're not sure, if you don't believe me, look no farther than Hunter Biden. All right, Hunter Biden was indicted last week on charges that he is a user of illegal drugs, and he bought guns during that time. So illegal drugs and guns at the same time. All right. Look, if you don't think that they would prosecute you, why would you say that? Why would you believe that? Right? We can look beyond party lines, and regardless of what party you subscribe to, I think we can all recognize that the Biden family and Hunter Biden have gotten away with shit for years. Tons of things for years that are highly illegal. They're getting away with it still. But the federal government was willing to indict Hunter Biden on his illegal use of drugs while owning guns. And if they're willing to go after him, somebody that usually don't otherwise go after, why do you think they wouldn't go after you? Little nobody, per se, in the eyes of our federal government. You know, the average citizen. Why would they not come after you? I've had people say, well, you know, I don't have to have my medical marijuana card now, so I can just go in and show my ID and no harm, no foul. You know, I'm not documented as having bought this. You know, there's no documentation that links it back to me. So, you know, what they can't prove doesn't matter. To a certain extent, you're correct. But what I've been told and what I confirmed today firsthand is that when you go into these let me take a step back, because I guess more or less the what was before medical marijuana dispensaries, now they can sell medically or recreationally. When you go into these dispensaries, they don't just look at your ID. They scan your ID. They scan your ID. And if you ask them, can I just show you my ID? Nope, sorry, we have to scan it. Why do they have to scan it? All right? They will tell you that it doesn't go in any type of database. That they don't tell the government about you being there. That they don't save your information. Well, then you can just look at my ID, right? You don't have to scan it. You can just look at it and verify that I'm. Because what they say is, I had to scan it to verify that you're over 21. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You can just look at it, just like anybody else, right? Yes, occasionally do you go to like a bar or a club and the bouncer might scan your ID for whatever reason? Yes, right? I don't know why they do that. Some choose to do that, many do not. Most of the time, 99% of the time when I'm out buying alcohol, whether to take home and consume or whether it's at a bar or club, right, they just look at my ID and verify that I'm over 21. If they even look at it. You know, I'm getting to that age where I can get away with not being checked sometimes, right? So why do these medical dispensaries, regardless of your age, regardless of how old, how young you might look, you could be 95 years old and you walk in, they're going to scan your ID. Why do they do that? Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily their intent or their purpose, but for them to try to tell you that the federal government, the state government will never have access to that information, and that information isn't even saved in the first place, that's either ignorant or plain old disingenuous, right? Anyone that's paid attention to anything at any point in time knows that something like that is not off limits to the federal government. Oh, well, they have to have a warrant. Anyone that's paid attention knows that they have done things like that without a warrant, right? When you go to these dispensaries and you have your ID scanned, there is a paper trail. Whether they know it or not, or whether they like it or not, there is a paper trail. There is a record, right? That record may come back to bite you next week, next month, next year, right? What I'm not saying is if you own a gun, that if you go into one of these dispensaries, that before you even step out the door, the cops are waiting there to throw you in handcuffs, and they're going to be at your house taking all your guns and throwing them into an incinerator, and you're going to be in jail for the next 30 years. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you leave yourself vulnerable to a prosecution, right? You are creating evidence. Anything you say or do can and will be used against you. And if you don't think that going into a marijuana dispensary and having your ID scan that you were in there and having because if you ever go into one of these, do you think that they don't have video surveillance? Do you think that video surveillance is not going to show that you were there? So now they got two pieces of record that are confirmed that you were there, and the video is going to confirm that you made that purchase there as well. Now, what I'm telling you is not only going to affect gun owners, but it can affect those government employees who have a job in which they are not able to use marijuana in any way, shape, or form, right? Whether you have a clearance or whatever it might be, whether you have a clearance, whether you have a government job, whether you are a gun owner, you are leaving yourself vulnerable to prosecution, and for those who have to do their job, you're going to potentially lose your job. Is that worth it? Right? Again, this is regardless of whatever that person behind the counter says, right? I'm not saying that person is lying to you. I'm not saying they're a bad person. I'm just telling you that if they tell you otherwise, that they're plain out wrong, right? And I want you to have the correct information before you go to these places and before you place these purchases, that they are documented, there is a record, that it can come back to bite you, and that you need to think about that. Right? I'm not saying that the law is right. I'm not saying I enjoy this at all. I think that this is ignorant. I think it is dumb. I think that, marijuana, if anything, should be regulated just like tobacco and or alcohol. If you're 21, why shouldn't you be able to go and consume that product? Look, I get it. Just like alcohol, hey, don't buy firearms while you're under the influence. Do not use firearms while you're under the influence. Do not carry them while you're under the influence. Just like a vehicle with alcohol. Why are we not treated the same way? And for someone to say, well, they are treated the same way now. It's decriminalized in Maryland. You can buy it, you just gotta be 21. Again, otherwise, I would say, yes, you're correct. But the fact that they are saying, I have to scan your ID, that just shows that it's not. Right? If I had it my way, if it wouldn't affect my job, if it wouldn't affect my ability to own and possess and carry firearms, if it wouldn't put me in jail, I would like to be afforded the opportunity to enjoy that very same product. I'm not going to say that I would use it all the time. I'm not saying that I would use it, even multiple times, but I would be the opportunity to be afforded to me to be able to enjoy that same product that other people do. The freedom and liberty to do just the same. But unfortunately, as a gun owner, I'm being discriminated against by my government. Right? If I were to be documented as enjoying and buying and enjoying such product, I would lose my ability to own firearms, carry firearms, right? And that would affect my ability to provide for my family as well. But I want to make sure that if you are going to put yourself in such a position that jeopardizes your freedom, your liberty, your Second Amendment rights, your job, I want to make sure that you're at least doing so with the full knowledge of what comes with doing that. I hope this changes. And if these policies or laws ever do change and that you can be an undocumented user, then I would love to see that happen. And please update me if that ever does happen. But unfortunately, that is not the case right now. That is not the reality that we live in. Appreciate you guys. Stay safe. All right, let me pull over real quick and read this person's comment. One moment. Person says, I feel bad for the people that have chronic pain issues and opioids don't work. Not only that, but opioids, people get addicted to that crap all the time. All the freaking time. I feel bad for those who have chronic pain and are forced to choose to use opioids. Because you can use opioids and you can still own guns. You can use opioids and you can still maintain a clearance. But guess what? God forbid if it's marijuana. God forbid if it's natural. God forbid if, you have your cake and eat it too. Nope. You have to use the drugs that are highly addictive and ruin people's lives because that's been approved by our government. That's been approved by our government. It's very unfortunate, but it is the unfortunate reality that we do live in and that we're subjugated to. Appreciate you guys. Stay safe. Let's see. Let me pull over one more time and read this next person's comment. Sorry, I don't want to leave anybody out, but I'll keep on answering questions and addressing comments and concerns as they come up. But once those run out, I will go ahead and get off of here. Give me one quick moment to be able to pull over and read this comment real quick. And if you guys, anyone else watching has a comment, concern, question, hit them up in the comments below and I'll try to address those. Also, once this video stops going live, you can still put your comments, concerns, and whatnot, questions in the comments below, and I'll address them, as they come in after the fact. I'll type them in the comments. See, Donald Cool says, what if you buy off the street? Well, I'll say this. Just like with anything in life, I've always said, if it's not documented, it never happened, right? So how are they going to prosecute somebody for being a gun owner and potentially buying these such products if there's no documentation, there's no record that it ever happened, right? They have to prove that you're guilty of the violation of this law beyond a reasonable doubt. So how do they prove it? If it's not documented, it never happened, right? And I'm not necessarily endorsing that or taking away from that. I understand it's some product that's been tested and reviewed and regulated. I to a certain extent would trust that better and buying that from somebody better than to buying off some random person off the streets, right? But unfortunately, there's not a legal opportunity for gun owners or government employees with clearances to be able to do that, right? So, but if it's not documented, it never happens. So a lot of people are going to choose to go that route. A lot of people are going to choose to be undocumented users, and that's a choice that they're going to make, and they're pretty much forced to make it because of the set of circumstances that are set forth by our politicians and bureaucrats, unelected bureaucrats. So Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Stay safe. I'm going to address this last question or comment or concern, whatever that Mr. Cool has put down below here at this next traffic light. And then I'll go ahead and get off of here. Let's see. Give me 1 second, Mr. Cool. Let's see. I just completed my range and classroom time, going to do state trooper part this week. Absolutely. And if you need help doing that, we can actually submit your paperwork for you on your behalf. Just give us, a text or a call at 240-925-5788, and we can complete your paperwork for you so that you don't have to worry about it, and you can make sure it's done right in a timely manner. Appreciate you. Stay safe, and be safe out there, people. How do I end this damn thing?